Hi friends, it's Liz here. Do you want to learn how to make this super easy and fun flowish style journal? Then stay tuned and I'll show you how to do it. Hi everyone. I had so many requests to show you guys how to make these flowish style journals I've been making. For this particular one, I used pieces from Victoria Designs, and as you can see, it's very vintage and gorgeous, and I absolutely love it. So the reason I selected digital kits is because they're really easy to use. They already come together. They have pockets, they have ephemera, they have tags. Some of them have everything you need to decorate your journal. So for this particular journal, as before, I've used variety of pages, coffee stained, as you can see here, the doily, gorgeous digitals, and you can just go and select what pages or papers you want to put in your journal, or you can make something similar to mine if you have a digital kit like this gorgeous one I'm using here. So as you can see, the variety of pages I have used, and the size is easy for a beginner as well because it's really photocopy paper size folded in half. It has the elastic in the center, and then it will have some pockets and flip outs and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to show you how to put that together. I have other tutorials showing you how to sew in pages in a journal. I've done a previous one for a small paperback cover, which I will link below if you haven't seen that, and I used the 3-hole pamphlet stitch on that one. But for this one, because it is for a beginner, I figured I would do something super easy and just used an elastic for the binding, which means you can take pages out or put pages in as you would like to do. So stay tuned for this particular part one. I believe I'm going to show you the cover, how I've decorated and designed it, and you can see how gorgeous these pieces are from Victoria Designs. I've used a few different digitals from their shop. Sorry, I will link all those below. I've also used ephemera from J9 Scraps, like this gorgeous paper bag in the back that I've used for a double pocket, actually triple pocket, and some ephemera as well. And again, you can see the tags and journaling cards that come in the kit, which make it super easy to put something together. Now you can also use your cardstock, you can use whatever pages you want to decorate this. It does not have to be a digital, but a digital happens to have all the pieces you need, so you don't have to think so much about, what to cut up or what to add. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to put this together. So I'm going to show you the pieces that I used to make the cover, and it's very simple. I used a large envelope. Now these are approximately 9 by 12 in size. They come in different colors, and that's the one I have used to make this cover. So I'm going to show you where I score it to make the spine. I will also show you how to reinforce the cover so that you can make it a little bit sturdier. You can reinforce it from the inside or outside. It depends on how you want to do it. And I'm just going to show you the measurements right now, which is, like I said, about 12 inches by 9 inches, and that's approximate. I'm going to also show you the pages that I have selected, or at least a digital as I showed you before, which includes some of the pockets, it includes the journaling cards, and some of these gorgeous pieces. And as I said, I'll link everything below, and it is easy for someone starting to make a junk journal to put something like this together because it really is already put together for you. All you have to do is cut up the pieces and then add them where you want, and then add your special touches like your book pages, coffee stain pages, tea stain pages, whatever you would like to do. I will have all the links below, and hopefully you will like to make this journal with me. Now again, you can continue to embellish this further, but I have shown you up until this point in this tutorial. And so yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I make the spine, and now you can make your spine bigger than the one I'm going to show you or smaller. It is entirely up to you, or no spine at all. But I'm going to go to the halfway mark, which is 6 inches, and I'm going to score at a 1/4 inch on either side of that, as you can see that I'm doing here. So from the 6 inch mark, I'm scoring a 1/4 inch on each side, and this way I will have myself a 1/2 inch spine when I am done with this one. And as I said, you can make yours as thick, larger or smaller. It depends on what you would like to do for your project. And then I like to score on both sides of the envelope because it's just a little bit easier to make the bends and the folds. And then the envelope is just much easier to handle that way. And again, that's preference. You don't have to do both sides. Now I'm going to show you the pages that I am going to select to decorate the front and back covers. But as you see here, we've got a nice little 1/2 inch spine ready to be filled with goodies. So the way I am going to select to do this is I will eventually be showing you how I reinforce the envelope, and that's why I'm leaving the opening either the back or the front, it doesn't matter. If you want to reinforce your envelope differently, you don't have to do this step, but this is the step that I am going to show you by leaving the opening in the back. Now I have already cut the cover that I had selected, and this really is 1/2 of a photocopy paper size. So the way I printed my page is borderless printing, which means I didn't have to cut out any of the borders around the paper's edge. But again, you don't have to do it this way. You can cut yours however you want. You can use scrapbook paper, you can use your own vintage pages. This is just how I've selected to do it. And the measurements for this is very easy. As you can see, it's the size of a 8.5 by 11 inch paper. So it's photocopy paper size. And I did print it borderless. And what I'm doing is cutting it in half, which will give me 2 equal sizes for front and back cover. So I'm going to show you how I will be cutting the inside pages as well as the cover that will go on the back of the envelope, which makes it the back cover. So I'm going to show you now where I'm cutting so you have an idea. But again, I'm just showing you where you could leave your opening if you want to leave it in the front or the back or not at all. And then here I'm just showing you that I like to leave a little bit of a border around the edge of my paper. If this was cardstocks, you know, they come in like 12 by 12 sizes, then it would cover the entire thing. You wouldn't have a border unless you wanted to. Entirely up to you. So I'll be cutting this sheet in half right now to show you. And again, as I said, the measurement for the front cover that I'm showing you is 5.5 by 8.5, and that's in inches. So I'm grabbing my paper here, which I'll be using part of it for the back cover, and as you see here, I'm just placing it at the 5.5 mark, and then I'll just be cutting really in half, and I'll have 2 equal sizes to use in my cover for my journal. So you can see here they're the exact same size, and now I can use one of them for the back cover and one for the front, and it was the same thing that I did for where it says the front cover for the journal. Hopefully I'm making sense. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I glue these pieces on. Okay, so to glue on my pages, I like to use the glue, double-sided glue tape, so the tape runner, and I also like to use a glue stick. I don't use the wet glue because I just don't want to take a chance of it getting all wonky and wrinkly. I showed you there how I like to just kind of mark the corners of where I want the pieces to go. This way it kind of keeps them even on both sides and I don't have to worry too much about placement. So I have added some of the double-sided tape runner to the edges of the page already. As you can see, it's quite sticky. And then I also like to go over it with the glue stick. I find that this gives you a little extra time, and you're also able to move the paper so it doesn't fully get stuck on the page right away. I really like this glue stick. It's worked so far for me with keeping everything stuck on where I put it. But I do like to add, as much as I can and a little extra if I have to, just to make sure that it all goes on properly. So I am now going to look at my little corners that I have marked, and try and kind of aim that as best as I can. But as you guys know, with handmade products, it may not go perfectly. It may get a little wonky. It might not be straight. And I think that's the beauty of handmade products, that they each have their own little quirk. So anyways, I've done the front. I'll do the back and then I'll show you what it looks like. So here I'm just making sure that everything is sticking how it should be. So this would be my back cover, the front cover, and I've just glued everything on. Now I'm going to show you the inside cover pages. And again, you can pick anything you want for the covers. I'm just showing you here with the Victoria Design Digitals. So I've selected to use this design again using the same steps as I did for the front cover. I will just be cutting this page in half, and I'll just show you again just in case you didn't see it initially. I cut it at 5.5, which makes it an even split between the page, and now I can use both pieces for my cover, leaving the spine accessible. Now you could cover your spine at this step before you put the end papers on top of it, but I'm choosing to do that after because I'm thinking of doing something different with a pocket on the side. So I will be reinforcing the spine later, and that's why I'm leaving that opening in the back, but you could reinforce your spine now if you've closed your envelope, and you would just be adding something to the spine to reinforce it and then adding your end papers. So again, I'm just showing you once I've tucked all the stuff in, I will be sticking my piece to reinforce this cover. This is how it will look when I've added my end piece, and it is covering it and giving it a nice little border as well. And now I'm just going to glue these down like I did with the front cover, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all glued together. Here it is, front and back cover, and then the inside of the cover is done with my opening, which I will be using to reinforce the envelope later on. And now I'm just going to use a little bit of Distress ink. You don't have to do this step. I like to do it when I'm working on something vintage looking, and also just to to give those edges a little bit more of a vintage feel. Again, you don't have to do this step. It depends on what your style is of what you're making, but for the purposes of this journal, I thought I would do that. So I'm just going to show you, I've got some pockets that I've cut off of the digital, and I'm really loving those. I do have this bag from Janine's shop at J9 Scraps, which I will be using as a pocket in the back. I really love this design. I think these are new in her shop. I love them. And so what I'll be doing is now trying to figure out where I would want to place a pocket. I do like to have lots of pockets and flip outs and just neat places to put things in. So in looking through the pockets, I've decided that I wanted to add this one. And so all I will have to do now is score it and also decide if I want to add the cover for the spine at this point or if I want to do it later on. And again, that's up to you. The reason I left it off is because I want to sort of add another pocket in a different way. Later, again, in the video, I'll show you how I'm doing that. But for now, I'll just be adding this pocket to the front. I'll be scoring the lines where they need to be, and then I'll come back and show you where I have decided to place it. Okay, so it's all scored, ready to be added. For this particular pocket, because I've printed it on cardstock, so it's thicker than the photocopy paper, I wanted to use some of the wet glue because it can take it, and also I find it easier to work with when it's a smaller piece that I need to add on. So right now I'm just being myself, trying to figure out where the pocket should go. This usually takes me a little while. I'm trying to decide if I want it right at the bottom of the envelope or if I want it to match where the border is of my digital. But I think for this one I decided I'm going to stick it to the left side of the page, and this way it kind of covers a little bit of the envelope, but it also gives me more room to maybe put a taller you know, tag if I want to. So this is just the glue that I'm preferring right now. Actually, I found it at the dollar store and I really like it. It's very similar to the Aleene's glue, which is amazing because this one seems to be a little bit cheaper. So now I'm going to add the bag to the back, and I've just folded it up as you saw to make a smaller pocket in front of the bag. And I'm just gluing on either side to make that center pocket there. And again, I just love this new print on these bags that Janine has. Absolutely love it. And then the back of the bag, because I want to have a pocket right on the back of it, I'm just again gluing on the 3 sides, and I'm going to leave the top accessible so that I can, you know, put other things in the back of the bag. So here in essence I'll have 3 pockets, which will be the small front one that I just made, the pocket itself from the bag, and then behind that pocket you'll have a 3rd place to stick things. So I think that makes it really good for extra places to put things in. Okay, so I think I need to do a part 2. I'm going to show you how I make a flip out with a couple pockets. I'm going to show you how I add the pages, how I reinforce it, and then I guess we'll do some embellishing and decorating, etc. Don't forget to check the links below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and check out the next part if you're interested in completing the project. I'll see you guys next time.